Okay, up to Ayin Dalid. We are 4 lines from the top. Okay, a new sugya. We're in the sugya Taruvis. So we're discussing Suri Hana. We saw the Mishnah that in Musu, we said it's Gezeira a Kavua, because maybe you could call the parish Meruba parish. And we ascertained that that Bali Chaim, we had Bali Chaim the Dochin and Rav is Din, and now we're going Amar Rav Nachman. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Ravua, Amar Rav. So the bottom line is Rav. Tabashaloi Diskechavim, and Rashi says Niskashet was adorned, a Avodah Zarah wore it, so now it's Asa B'Hana. So you have a Tabashaloi Diskechavim that's Asa B'Hana, and this Arva B'Meya Tabois, it gets mixed in with 100 Tabois. Ayin Dalin Amar Aleph. About five lines down. Now, so it gets mixed in. So, guys, Pasha right now, it's Asabana, right? V'nafla achas mehem liyama gadol. And one of them falls in the Yama Gadol. Putra kulan. They're all muta. The Aminon, hachti nafal, hainadi surah. The one that fell, that's one of Issa. So, let's make a few diyukum over here. It's mashma nafla by itself. It's also mashma, it has to be destroyed. In other words, we wouldn't say if it just separated automatically that's the Isser. It has to fall in the Yamagadol. In other words, it has to be lost. So let's see Taisus here. This is important Taisus. The second Taisus down. V'naf la'achas min Yamagadol hutra kulan. Mishum, why is it muta? The midaraisa beruba batal. Really, midaraisa is batal. In other words, guys, statistically, it's not the one. Statistically, it isn't the one. You know, you have 100. One, you're going to say the one that fell is that? Elama. Really, be'emes, it's what? It's utter. It's bottle. It's bottle. Mishum the chumrah of Avodah Zarah. Sorry, I know. We're saying it's not bottle. Good. Now, when it falls out and we have a reason to be matir, so we'll go back and put them on the rice ticket in. That it's bottle. Remember, guys, they're always starting the point of Zachir Rav Mahatas. All these achurmis, the Rabbanon, all these achurmis. So now, since it's Geshmak, since Midaraisa really is Mutta, and it's only a Chumrah, Memela, now that it fall, you know what? I'll say that's the one. Mishamachi Akilu Kan. Vidafka Nafla, Memela. Dafka, guys, it fell by itself. Aval he pila, if he caused it to fall out. Afilu shoygeg. Even he's the one b'shoygeg. In other words, he didn't do it b'mezid. Kansinan atu mezid, and it would still be asa. So this heta of it falling in the Yamagadol has to be A, it falls memela, and now B, v'dafka Yamagadol she'ena be'en. It's not around anymore. Aval pirsha, but if it separates and it's still around, loy kidemuch b'hi uparshu aboyim l'makam echad. We said 40, 60, and 40. The 40, it doesn't help. Okay, so
you say Yamamelech.
What?
You say Yamamelech, right?
Yeah. Usually Yamamelech, right? This is Yamagadol. Okay, again, Yamamelech.
Because it gets destroyed.
It could be salt. Yamagadol, you're not going to find it. No. So, guys, this Taisus you say D. It's you say it's a Taisus, right? Yeah. Really, Bemis, it's bottle, but as chumra, it's not. Once it falls by itself. And it's destroyed, and it's not be'en, and you didn't do it, then we'll say. That's the din of Rav. Okay, very geschmack. The Taisus is important. Back in the Gemara. Eisevei Rav Rav Nachman, afilu achas beriba yemusu kulon, amai nema demayas isur amayas. Guys, what happens? We put we have these 1,000 karbanis. As soon as one dies, why don't we say that's the one? As soon as it dies, why don't we say that's the one? Right? We'll say that's the one. The one that died, that's the one. And l'chayra, again, going through the motions. Midaraisa, it's bottle. You didn't kill it. It happened in Mela. It's not around anymore. So based upon checking all the boxes, it should be muta. And it's not. And Rav can't argue on a Mishnah. A Mishnah said Yemusa, he died. Amalei Rav da Amak Rebbe Eliezer. Rav, who said that it's muta, holds like Rebbe Eliezer. Vitnan, Rebbe Eliezer Oimer, In korv haroish shalecha be met Eliezer at the top. In korv haroish shalecha mehem yakrivu kol harashim kulan. So we said if a balmum gets mixed up with parts, and you go, and really it's all also because the balmum you can't be makriv it. But if you're makriv one, we'll say that that's the one. So who adin? It fell in. We'll say that's the one. Our Mishnah says that Kuli and Musu, they follow the Chachamim. They don't go to Kontra Rabbi Eliezer. The Chacham hold even if you're makriv the Rosh, you still can't be makriv the other ones. Guys, you hear? Machloikis we're going to meet later on between Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. Rabbi Eliezer says you're makriv the Rosh. We say that's the Balmum. The Chachamim say no. So our Mishnah that says no is the Chachamim, and Rav said the dinner tabas is mutter if it falls out that the tarubas is mutter goes according to Rabbi Eliezer. That's the way. That's the way Rav Nachman will answer Rava. For Ha'amar Fregumar V'amar Rav Eliezer loyhit V'amar Rav Elazar loyhita Rabbi Eliezer ela shnayim avol echad loy. You had to have guys two heads, not one head. Rashi speaks out. Let's see Rashi. V'amar Rabbi Elazar l'kamon pirkan loyhita Rabbi Eliezer l'hakar es hanaysarim. He don't let you permit to be makriv to burn the leftover pieces. Ela shnayim. Why? Because if you do two and there's only one balmum to begin with, certainly one of them is mutter. Shahari loinis arav behem ela balmum echad. Only one. Ubechol chad amrinon, and we say midachavre lav di surah, iunami lav di surah. When this one, he will say when this one is zichar, this one also. Vahu di surah azalei bak rava rishayna shekar vecha mehen. And the first one that we were makriv in the first batch, that was avol echad v'echad lo yakrivu harashim the bechol chad misafkinon dilma disurahu. Each one you have the suffix the issa. The lekal meima migu you can't say migu that this one is mutter, the other one's mutter. So Fred the Gemara, guys, you're telling me Rav holds like Rabbi Eliezer, but Rav said if one tabas falls out, it's mutter. Rabbi Eliezer said only two. In other words, guys, you had to do two. You can't. When it said Makriv Rosh, you had to write two. Again, guys, one balmum fell in, the head fell in, right? So now, maybe this animal, you have the head of the animal, can sign that this is what the balmum. If I bring two of them, migu that one of them is good, the other one's also good. Good. But you're telling me that Rav holds like Rabbi Eliezer. Rav said even one ring. Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold one, he holds two. So that the Gemara answers. Right, Amalei, I'm not tarti come in. I meant two. In other words, Rav also where two rings fell out, not one ring. Two rings fell out. Okay. Amarav. Haboy shalabayis kechavim shenis arvo b'meya tabois. One ring of avodah that was ma'ariv, it got mixed in to 100 rings. Uparshu arboyim l'makam echad. This is what Tosfos brought in. 40 go to one spot. V'shishim l'makam echad, and 60 go to another spot. Parshu achas me'abayim, one of the 40 comes out, and it falls into a bunch of other rings. Einoi seres, it does not asa the other rings. Why, guys? Ostensibly, because we're going to say that the ring that's asa is in the 60. Now, achas mishishim, but one of the 60 falls in to a bunch of other rings, a seres. So, guys, you hear the case. You have 100 rings. One of them falls in is a avodah zarah. That combination word is asa. Yes, that's gone. You separate 40 and 60. From the 40, one falls in to another batch. Says Rav, it's going to be mutter. But if one from 60 falls into another batch, it's going to be asa. Fred the Gemara, Maishna achas me'aboyim deloy de'amina nisur beruba isya. We're going to say that the ring is in the roiv in the batch of 60. Achas mishishim nami amina isur beruba isya. When the 60 falls in, let's say what? That the isser is in the roiv. It's in the 59 that remained over there. Guys, what's the case? You have 100. 40, 60. 40 falls in, okay. 60 falls in not. 40 falls in, okay, because it doesn't have the roiv. 60, you also don't have the roiv. If one separates from 60, the roiv is in 59. So it should make a difference. In both cases, the new taruva should be mutter. right? The new taruva should be muta, as I read the Gemara on Rav, okay? And for the Gemara, okay. Ella impirshu aboyim kulam l'makam echad. If they all come to one spot, ein oisrois. Shishin l'makam echad oisrois. But if 40 come to one spot, they won't be asa. But if 60 come to one spot, if the 60 come to one spot, that would be what? That would be asa. What does that mean? That 40 come to one spot, and all the 40 get mixed together. Not one from 40, all the 40 get mixed. Then it's not going to asa. If 60 gets mixed in, it's going to asa. In other words, you don't have the one separating to say the roiv isn't 60. It's all, you have 100. Now you have 40, now you have 60. Make believe this is 60. You have 40, this is 60. Remember there was 6 fingers, like there was. Yeah, no. Yeah. There was a toy, a 6 finger, like, anyway. L'chala pachas. Fellas, watch. Now, the kash is, if one falls from here and one falls from here, you have a roiv both places. Here you have, right? So what's the case? This 40 falls in. This 60 falls in. This is going to be what? Muta. This is going to be yasa, because we're going to go after this, we're going after the roiv. So again, it's speaking with that's the case where it all fell in. They all fall in at once. So now you don't have a problem. Ki Amisa made the Shmuel, when he said this in front of Shmuel, Amalei, Hanach la avoidis kechavim, shesveika v'svek sveika asura at Seifa Oilam. Okay, guys. L'chayra, in the case of 40, you have a svek sveika. The first suffix what? But in case of, wait 1 second. You have a svek sveika over here. And the 60 falls in. Listen, where's the svek sveika over here? Let's see Rashi. I thought I knew this. Let's see Rashi. Elahachi kamar, guys. Elahachi kamar. Pirshu aboyim kulam l'makam echad. V'nisarvu b'shat habois. Eino oisris. Tarminon isur b'shishim isyo. Okay, that was easy enough, right? The issue was in the 60. Unehi dehanach atzmam and loin nisarvu b'acheres asurais lo'ilam. Good, but these 40 would be usher. They would be usher, because again, they would be usher. That feel Rabbi Eliezer lo yama toilen es iser ela b'davish avad. Kigoin shenaf la'achas miyama gadol. Dumya the karva roish lechem mehem. Fellas, if the 60 and the 40 itself would be usher. Why? The only one who's matter by avodah zara after it gets mixed in is Rabbi Eliezer, and he's only matter when we saw Tosfos, when it falls out and it gets lost. Over here, you had a tabas fall in, 60, 40. What happened to the 40? Nothing. You didn't leave anything. 40 left. But again, you didn't have anything perish from them and didn't get lost. So nonetheless, despite the fact that the 40 itself will be usher, if it gets mixed in with another batch, it's going to be muta. Avaloy litlois b'shishim lahates abayim. They ain't bittul b'roiv labayis kechavim. Vavikul suffik labayis kechavim. Avokinis arba chayrois havilus svek sveka. Okay, guys, here you go. When the 40, when it separates, right, it's asa. It's asa. The chumrah avodah zara, maybe the is there. We don't say batal b'roiv. Maybe the is there. Now it gets mixed in with another batch. Good. It's a svek sveka. Suffik, right? Suffik whether it was there in the first place, right? Maybe the tabas, right? Suffik that was in the first place.
40 out of the 40.
The tabat in the case of the 40, right? The case of the 40, suffix it was there in the first place, and 1 second. So where's the svek over here?
All 40 are falling in.
Yeah, maybe the device is from the second group. Maybe it's from the first group. Maybe the whole first group is mutter. What's the svek over here? You know, it's terrible. I forgot by this morning. Oh, guys, here's the story. You have 40 and 60, right? Mm-hmm. So we said that when there's a suffix in the 40, whether it's there or not, right? Yes, that's one suffix. Yes, maybe guys, look, maybe it's in the 60, maybe it's in the 40. I don't know. This is usher because it went in full way. If this group falls into another group, now anything that comes out of the other group is a svek. In other words, I was stuck on the group of 40. There's a third group, the 40 group into the new group. If something comes out of the new group, guys, it's a svek. A, may what? Maybe the group of 40 it wasn't there in the first place. And even if you could tell me there was in the first place, the one coming out is from the second group that it fell into.
Start over.
Guys, guys, start again. Watch. A, B, and C. Good. A, B, and C. So A is 60, B is 40, C is a totally new group, right? Now, why is B asa? Suffix. When B falls into C and something comes out of C, you have a suffix. A. Maybe it was from the group of 40, but maybe the group of 40 wasn't asa at all. Or B, when it comes out, maybe it's not the group of 40 at all. Maybe it's it's group C. Maybe it's from group C, so you have a double suffix. So therefore, it's mutter. On that, Shmuel's arguing. Shmuel's saying sveka by avodah zarah is also asa. Guys, you have it?
Where does this group C come from?
40 fell into a new group. 40 was 100. 60, 40. 40 is asa. 40 now falls into group C, another group.
What's group C?
A bunch of different mutter dika rings. That is mutter, but it's mutter because it's sveka. Maybe the issa wasn't in 40, and even if it wasn't 40, maybe one coming out now is from the group C. It never was. No, you didn't. You only had one. Only had one suffix. Only one suffix. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's not. There was when it's separated from A.
The group C was all kosher.
Yeah. Group C was totally kosher. Yeah, group C was totally kosher, right? So now you have the sveka, right? So on that, Shmuel says, I'm sorry. On that, Shmuel says, Amalei said Shmuel, Hanach labayis kechavim shesveka usvek sura. One suffix mutter and two svekas are mutter. So I disagree. Group 40 is also asa when asas. Because it's a sveka, avodah zarah is asa. Right? Ad seif oilam. Basically, suffix avodah kechavim asura usvek muteres. Ketzad koishel avodah kechavim shenafal lo'oitzer mali koisais. You have a kaisel of avodah zarah. It falls into a treasury of what full of kaisais. Kula and asuras. They're all asa. That we know. Pirish echamehim. One of them separates l'ribui to what to 10,000. Ribui l'ribui, and even from the second group to the third group. This is group D. This is group C and D. Mutarim. C is also mutter. Why? Sveka. D is certainly mutter. I don't know what you have to say the second case. Sveka. So it's Shmuel can't argue on a Tana, guys. Here we have a Tana saying that Sveka is mutter. Again, only the first one was asa. Once it fell into the second group, it's a sveka. Says the Gemara Tanoia, it's machlekes Tanoim. The Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rimone Badan, guys, was one of the 6 things. Es Shedarka Lipnois was one of the 6 things that are so choshev, it's asa. Rimone Badan, Oisrin B'chol Shehem. They asa B'chol Shehu. Ketzad, Nafal Lechamehem L'toich Riboy, Ume Riboy L'Riboy, Asurim. So obviously, guys, this Tana holds what? This Tana holds. Rabbi Yehuda holds what? Sveka, even by a dava chashiv is asa. Because Rimoni Badim, even falling into group C, is going to be asa. Right? Rabbi Shimon Yudoimem, Yishum Rabbi Shimon, L'riboy Asurin, right? Umeribu L'shleisha, the first ribu is asa, the first suffix asa. Umeribu L'shleisha, if the 10,000 falls into 3, Umishleish L'makam Achar, Mutar. So Rabbi Shimon clearly holds svek is mutter. The Gemara is going to ask, why do you have to say 3? You could have said 2. All we need is batal b'roif. Why did you have to say 3? Say 2. Okay. Bottom line is, you have a problem. Shmuel the Amar Kiman. Ik Rabbi Yehuda afilu b'shari surim asa. Guys, Rabbi Yehuda holds by shari surim. We also say svek is asa, right? Rimani Badin he said Rimani Badin. That's a regular case of a fruit of arla or klei akerim. It's asa bahana. Even svek sveka is going to be asa. And Shmuel said only by avodah zara. He didn't say it, guys, by regular. So he can't hold like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda holds there's no such thing as svek sveka. Ikreb Shimon, afil avodah chavim nami shari. And if you could tell me Reb Shimon, he would hold even avodah zara's mutter. Now, why would you say that? Reb Shimon only addressed Mimoni Baden. He didn't say anything about avodah zara. That he would agree that avodah zara is chamer, and therefore Shmuel would be totally in conjunction with Reb Shimon. Elahad Tanya, suffix avodah chav masura, the suffix sveka mutares. That's ketzad money. Loi Reb Yehuda, who says it's usher across the board. Loi Reb Shimon, who says that avodah chav is usher, and the other one's mutter. And here we say avodah zara is mutter. So it must be what Reb Shimon holds is totally mutter. So guys, outside. We have svek according to Reb Yehuda in both scenarios. Regular and avodah zara is out. We have Reb Shimon saying they're both in. We have Shmuel saying one's in and one's out. Who does Reb Shmuel hold like? Right? Avodah zara is out and Rimoni Badin are in. Who does he hold like? He doesn't look like Reb Yehuda. He doesn't hold like Reb Shimon. Who does he hold like? It says the Gemara, Lo'ilam Reb Shimon. He holds like Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon said both are mutter, sai svek sveka and avodah zara. Shmuel Saba like Rabbi Yehuda bechada. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda by avodah zara that it's asa svek sveka upalagal bechada. And he argues on Rabbi Yehuda and he says it's mutter. So therefore, Shmuel holds like one. He holds like a little bit of both. He disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda by svek sveka of avodah zara. He agrees with Rabbi Shimon by svek sveka of regular not avodah zara. Amamar, going back over the brisa. Now, we said in the brisa, if the Romi Badin falls in, the first Reb Shimon said the first batch is asa, the second batch is muta, and we said if it falls from 1,000 into 3. Why? Because it's going to be batal beroiv. Fred the Gemara, l'shleisha, u'mishleisha l'mamachem muta, amid right? Ma'ishna shleisha de ikaruba, shnayim not ikaruba. Guys, what's the yisoida of 3? What's the side of the second batch? The second batch is going to be batal beroiv. So why do you have to come on to what? 3? Even 2 would do the job. Says the Gemara, my gimel diktani tarti v'hu. You know what? The gimel we're learning is what? Tarti v'hu is 2 and 1. In other words, the 3 consists of the 1 of Isser, the one of that's not, we don't know it's Isser, right? That came out of the first batch, and the 2 of the second batch. The Iba Yisema, Rashi learns the Iba Yisema, guys, is another teretz to Shmuel, who Shmuel holds like. The Iba Yisema is Savala Rabbi Eliezer. Shmuel holds like Rabbi Eliezer, right? Who's Rabbi Eliezer, guys? Rabbi Eliezer is, Rashi brings, it's a Mishnah in Avodah Zarah. If you have a piece of wood of Avodah Zarah and you use it to go ahead and bake in an oven for the first time, then the oven's going to be asa, you have to break it. Now, let's say you did it, the first piece is asa b'hana. Let's say it falls into something and something else, right? Rabbi Eliezer says once it falls, yolech liyam melech, and Rabbi Yehuda holds that svek sveka by avodas kechavim is going to be muta when he said acheres are muta. Guys, look at me, guys, look at me. You cooked in an oven that you shouldn't have. Why? Because the oven was banite is the word. It was banite with wood. That was avodah zara, right? Harold Massey was christened. Right? You take the ship, right? Lenny, right? They hit the ship with the bottle, right? So that they went ahead and they now if you bake in there, it's going to have Isra avodah zara. So if you do anything, let's say food, the first batch is no good. The second batch, if one falls away, it's good. So I to svek sveka by avodah zara. You see, Rabbi Eliezer svek sveka by avodah zara is muta. That's who Shmuel holds like svek sveka by avodah zara. Very good. Amrei Shlakish, Chavias shel Truma, shenis arva b'meya chavias. You have a barrel of Truma that got mixed in with 100 barrels. Now, guys, a closed barrel, we said what is asa, right? It's one of the 6 things. B'nafla achas me'em liyama melach, and one of them here's yama melach Benji, and one falls in the yama melach, right? And the Shita McGrath takes that melach and puts in gadol, the gimel. So, and nafla achas liyama gadol. Hutru kulan. They're all muta. The amrina we say hachta nafal, the isur nafal. Whatever fell in was the truma. Now, so l'chayre, this is the same din of avodah zara. right? This is the same din. This is the same din of Avodah Zarah, that if one of them falls into the Yam HaMelach, it's going to be what? It's going to be okay, right? Vitzit Rav Nachman by what? By Avodah Zarah. Vitzit Reish Lakish. The Rav Nachman Avamina Hani Mili. When if one falls in, it's Mutta Avodah Kechavim. The Ein Lamatirin. Avodah Zarah, guys, is also forever. There's nothing you can do with it. So Memela will keep it on its deraisa dikadin, that it's batal baroiv, if one falls out. Guys, again, remember the Tosfos. Really, midaraisa it's batal. It's we're machmir that it's chus the chumra avodah zarah. Now, once one falls out, right? Tosfos said, it's not banned anymore. It fell into the Yam HaMelach. It's gone. The Yam HaGadol, it's gone. It's mutter. Because there is no heta for it. What about a chavius of truma, fellas? It's not asa. It's asa to us. It's not asa to David Friedman. It's mutter to a kohen. So memela, it's a David sheish matirin. So maybe then you wouldn't say that if one of the barrels falls in, it's now what? Asa. I'd say sell the whole kit and caboodle to a kohen. Kamash malon arash lakish. No, even by truma we'll say what? We'll say it's mutter. Even by truma we say it's mutter. That's the chiddush. Guys, here, there's a big difference in Avodah Zarah and Truma. Avodah Zarah, since it's a dava she'ein le matirin, and midaraisa, I'm throwing in the Tosfos, it's really batal. So if one leaves and falls into the Yam HaGadol, I'll say that's the one. Mashen came by Truma, why do I have to come on to that chumrah, to that kula? Go ahead, sell it to a kohen. It's a little good, he'll get a good deal on it, right? But it's not asa. It's not asa, says the Gemara. Aval truma deishna matirin light. Vidrei shlakish by truma havamina chavius the minkara nifilasa. Aval tabas lay minkara nifilasa light tzricha. When a barrel falls in, fellas, will we recognize the place where the barrel was? Of course you will. It's a large object. Will you therefore never come to matter it without it falling in? No, because you know the situation is it fell in. A ring that falls in. Do you recognize the place where it was? No. So maybe I'll say, if I mat it over here, I'll come to matter it where it doesn't fall in. Kamash Malon, you don't say that. Outside, guys, outside. Again, we're doing a chumrah over here. We're worried if we're going to go ahead and allow you to use this mixture because one fell in, you may come to go ahead and use the mixture when it doesn't fall in. By a barrel, you don't have that concern because you're going to notice the barrel is gone. So you'll make the distinction between the two. By a ring, it's so small, you're not going to recognize it's gone. So you might think that what? You don't matter it because you're scared that people will make the mistake of mattering when it doesn't fall in. Kamash Malon of Nachman, that we're not worried. That's the Gemara. Okay. Amar Rabba. Hit the Reish Lakish el chavius the mikra nefilasa. Aval te'ena loy. Rabbi Yosef Amar afilu te'ena. Let's say you have a te'ena, a fig that fell in, a fig that was truma, right? And it was very small, and you won't recognize where it's gone. So he obviously argues on the case of tabas, according to the Rambam, not so pashut, but according to this, the charetz machloikis, right? He's going to argue. He's going to say by the ring, and also he's going to argue on the ring because the ring is not recognizable, and here the te'ena is not recognizable, right? Just like when it fell in, you didn't recognize it. So when it goes out. Right? You have 100. Now you have a close chavius. It's a davar chashiv. It falls into 100. It's not batal. Open up one of them and take out 1/100th. Now, why do you have to take out 1/100th if it's batal? And the answer is because you're stealing from the kohen. Any case of taruvis, guys, when you're mevatel, you're always going to separate as gezel for the kohen. You're going to separate the 1/100th when it's 100 to 1, whatever the proportion is. You're going to separate 1 to 200, whatever it is. Yosef Ravdim even kamal shmaitza amalev nachman gama v'shasi. Right, you're you're just drinking. In other words, it's mashma. It's you know what? If it falls in, just open up the barrel and you won't have a problem. Open up the barrel lechatchila. You can go ahead and be mvatalis lechatchila. You can't be mvatalis lechatchila. If one of them becomes open, guys, not paiseach. Nifsecha, if it becomes open, you take from it k'dei dimua. In this case, you're going to take 101. V'shaisa. 100 gets one chavius gets mixed with 150. And 100 of them get opened up. I take 151 v'shaisa. V'shar and the regular 50 asurim at yiftachu. And we don't lo yaminon isur beruba isya. We don't say that the isur was in the other 100. We don't say it, and therefore the other 50 would remain asa unless they open up by themselves. The din in the Mishnah was haroiveya ve'anirva. Going back to the Mishnah, guys. It's a long time ago. Okay, so we said that roiveya ayin aleph, guys, ayin aleph, small daf. But roiveya ve'anirva, if an animal that an act of snus was done to it, but muktzah was set aside by the zara. If nevar, it was served as by the zara. Be'esnan, it was given over for a hire. Be'esnan u'chakelev u'betreifo b'yotzedaifin. All these cases that they get mixed in with chulin, yiro actually stavu till they get a mum. If they get mixed in, not with chulin, they get mixed in with animals. Go ahead, kachim. Okay, now how do you know something's a treifa, guys? How are you going to know if it's treifa? If you could see it, just take it out. And if it's an internal wound, you will know it's a treifa. So in other words, practically, how do you know it's a treifa? That's what the Gemara is stelzing with, okay? How do you know it's a treifa? V'roiva nerva, bishlema kula lo yedia, bishlema all the other ones you don't know. Roiveya, nerva, you won't be able to tell. Yitzadayfin, you won't be able to tell. Kalayim, you won't be able to tell. Right? Ella high treifa echidami. Either yedia if you know it's a treifa, leisi l'shakle. Go ahead and take it out. Go ahead and take it out. Iloyadia, and if you don't know, Manayoda, the Arif. How do you know it got mixed in? It's Manavshach, fellas. If it's discernible, take it out. And if it's not discernible, how do you know it got mixed in the first place? So Ami Rav Yanai Hachamay Askinan Kigoin the Arif Nekuvas Hakoitz Bedrushas Hazev. Okay, guys. One of the trephis is if an animal is clawed by a wolf. It seems that they have bacteria in their claws, and it's going to kill the animal. It makes it into a treifa. If you have the animal got stuck in a thicket of kaitzim, you're going to have holes. So you had a bunch of these animals that had holes in it from the kites, and one animal that was Doris, that was clawed by a wolf, gets mixed in. So now you can't tell the difference. So you know it's a treifa, but now you can't tell the difference. That would be the case. So you have a case of a treifa getting mixed in to animals that have been clawed. Again, you don't even have to have a bunch of animals that was clawed. All you have to have is one, right? Then you would know. So it got mixed in. Reish Lakish Amar kigoin the arev bin apula. An animal fell off a high spot, guys. So we said if it gets up and walks, it's okay. There's a day, however, you have to wait 24 hours, right? And even after 24 hours, there's a day that what? You have to check it. And the batika has to be after it's dead. So, Nefula Nami lived the cut. Go ahead and check it out, right? In other words, let it walk, and then you know it's not a treifa. If it stands up, you need 24 hours. If it's able to walk, it needs bedika. So in this case, it would be you saw it fall, it's walking. You still have to do bedika afterwards, but it gets mixed in, so you won't be able to tell the difference on the outside. Rabbi Yomi Amar Kigoin, the Arev Bivlat Treifa, right? For Rabbi Eliezer, the Amar Vlat Treifa, Lo Yikar Gam Mizbeach. Vlat Treifa, you should not be on the Mizbeach. The Treifa gives birth to an animal, don't bring it. So we have three pshatim, guys. Rav Yana is saying that it's got mixed up with a clawed wolf, mixed up with kaitzim. We have Reish Lakish saying that what? It was under, it stood up and it walked, and since it walked, you need a bediki afterwards. And we have Rav Yemia saying that what? there's a Vlad treifa, like Rabbi Eliezer. Now, Kula, Rabbi Yanai, who said, Kaitzim, Layamri, Bein, the Kuvas, that Kaitz, Ladrus, Sazlev, made the idea. You can discern the difference between an animal that was clawed by a wolf and an animal that was stuck by thorns. Hi Moshech for hi Ugol. One guys, look, when the animal's going to claw, it's going to pull. So you'll able to see the shape. When it's a coat, it's going to be oval. So you'll be able to tell the difference, discern from the whole, which is the treifa and which is what the kites. Karesh Lakish, who says what that it was it got up and it walked. Lo yami ksavi the in its station. You have to wait. Halcha, if it walks, and it's bedika. You don't need a bedika, so therefore it won't be a treifa. Krev Yemia lo yami, Krev Eliezer lo mukmei. Like Krev Yemia, we not going to hold because we don't hold like Krev Eliezer. We don't hold like Krev Eliezer that the Vlad treifa, and since you don't like Krev Eliezer, you don't have the case of treifa. Best Hashem, the shir will be tomorrow morning.